Good evening. You're watching the news on Croatian television. On Monday, Croatia received the green light from the European Commission to guarantee a €96 million loan to the cash-strapped Uljanik shipyard in Pula. With the loan issue cleared, unions canceled an announced strike for this morning to protest over the company's failure to pay outstanding salaries. Uljanik, which is largely privately owned, must undergo restructuring with the help of a strategic partner to ensure their long-term survival.
What I'm most upset about is the fact that we were faced today with professional strikers. Somebody who deals with this sort of thing can confirm that these were hired professionals. It's a shame that some of our workers let themselves be taken in by these kinds of people. Nevertheless, our board of directors has been doing all they can and working hard to make sure salaries will be paid tomorrow. Throughout this whole ordeal, the board has communicated openly with Uljanik and its workers.
Meanwhile, Istria County Prefect Valter Flego and Pula Mayor Boris Militic were in Brussels to discuss the Uljanik situation with representatives of the European Commission's Directorate General for Competition.
There are already several strategic partners who are in communication with the shipbuilders. I believe in Uljanik, I believe in their workers, and I believe in the expertise they have cultivated in that industry for over 160 years. I am certain they will find a highly qualified strategic partner who will be prepared to participate in the recapitalization of the company, so that they can develop and maintain sustainable growth without relying on help from the state. Like I've already said, that money will not be enough in the long run. The company must be already working on the restructuring process, including recapitalization and everything else that must be done in that regard. I must underline the major responsibility of all interested parties to achieve a sustainable shipyard for years to come.
Following an announcement from the INA Oil and Gas Company that they planned to shut down a section of their oil refinery in Sisak, unions are demanding an emergency meeting with the Prime Minister over what they feel is the first step towards the refinery's imminent closure. The fate of the chemical fertilizer maker Petrokemija continues to hang in the balance after INA cut off their gas supply over unpaid debts. The chairman of the board at Petrokemija warned that the current situation was unstable. On the other hand, PPD, a Croatian gas supply company, said a drop in cash reserves was a normal occurrence during this time of year.
We don't have much time left. We can continue like this for a month or two at the most, while maintaining a level of understanding with INA. At the same time, without recapitalization, this situation is no longer sustainable. Petrokemija has had liquidity problems for years, especially during the summer and winter when the consumption of the chemical fertilizers they produce falls. This leads to a drop in revenues, which results in liquidity problems and the inability to settle outstanding bills. In this regard, the gas suppliers suffer the most because they are Petrokemija's largest creditors.
According to the Croatian Bureau of Statistics, the unemployment rate in Croatia this past December stood at 12.2%, a marginal increase over the previous month. There are currently more than 195,000 people in Croatia registered as unemployed. Meanwhile, the average pre-tax salary in November rose to just over €830, representing a boost of €24 compared to October. Events marking the 25th anniversary of the Maslenica military operation continued this afternoon. The fallen were remembered today in the surrounding villages of the Zadar hinterland, where in 1993 Croatian forces fought to retake territory from rebel Serbs and re-establish connections between the country's north and south.
On this day, we commemorate the military offensive known as Operation Maslenica. For every Croatian veteran and every Croatian citizen, this operation is extremely important because it was our first successful military operation. This was the mother of all subsequent battles during the Homeland War.
Prime Minister Andrej Plenković met in Zagreb today with representatives of the Croatian minority in Serbia. Discussions revolved around the position of their community in Serbia, as well as projects and programs sponsored by the Croatian government.
The main reason for our meeting today was an upcoming meeting by the government's Joint Commission, which oversees the implementation of the bilateral agreement on the protection of minority rights. The 7th such meeting is coming up in a few days on the 30th and 31st of the month in Serbia. These meetings are an opportunity for us to discuss and resolve our issues.
Interior Minister Davor Božinović has signed a series of contracts with Croatian companies to supply the country's police officers with uniforms and equipment. The minister said he was pleased that the highly specialized gear would be produced locally and vowed to make equipment issues a thing of the past.
Equipment issues should never be a problem. The state budget has always provided enough funds. There is no question as to the quantity, quality, and direction of the work we have done. Over the years, the ministry has realized what the people in this room already know. In this regard, the ministry is merely a logistical partner here to serve the nation's police.
In other news, Slavonian honey has been enshrined on the European Commission's database of origin and registration. In doing so, the Commission recognizes the unique qualities of Slavonian honey and their 130-year-old beekeeping tradition. Taking a quick look at sports, in tennis at the Australian Open, Croatia's Marin Cilic has advanced to the semi-finals for the second time in his career after his opponent, world number 1 Rafael Nadal, pulled out in the fifth set due to injury. Cilic will now face Britain's Kyle Edmund on Thursday for a spot in the finals. And at the European Handball Championships, Croatia plays France on Wednesday night at 8:30 p.m. in Zagreb. The weather forecast for tomorrow calls for mostly sunny skies throughout the country. Morning fog is possible in low-lying areas in the morning. The Adriatic coast will get a moderate to strong northeasterly and northerly wind with gale-force gusts in places. Winds are expected to die down during the morning. Morning lows of -6 to -1 degree inland and between 3 and 7 on the coast will give way to highs of 5 to 10 inland and from 10 to 14 degrees Celsius in Istria, Dalmatia, and the rest of the Adriatic coast. Temperatures for continental regions over the next few days will be relatively high. Thursday and Friday will be somewhat windy, especially as a strong southwesterly moves in along central areas and the mountains. Sunny skies are in the forecast following periods of morning fog. Light rain is expected in mountainous areas of the north. Daytime highs will be above average for this time of year. The coast will also be warmer beginning on Thursday, but with cloudy skies. The greater Rijeka area and parts of the northern coast may see light rain that will spread to the central coast and further south, as well as the islands on Saturday. A southwesterly wind will begin to blow on Thursday with the probability of reaching gale-force strength on Friday and Saturday. And that brings us to the end of our program. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again tomorrow night.